In today's video, I'm going to show you how to draw and paint this little piece of art. This is the time of year when I start thinking about my garden and springtime. Right now, it looks like this. I'm also seeing this and this. So as I plan for the springtime, there's a few things that I want to add, and a topiary is one of those things. So I thought, why not just draw one? I also want to show you a little bit more about ink and watercolor. You probably heard this called line and wash or ink and wash, and all those terms mean the same thing. It means using ink and watercolor in the same picture. A lot of times watercolor is by itself, or ink could be by itself, but you can put them together, you get ink and watercolor. So let's get started. I'm using a hot pressed watercolor paper. Hot pressed means it's nice and smooth, and I like that sometimes, not always, but I do like it. The little picture that I'm using as my reference, I just printed in black and white for a couple of reasons. One, I don't have to spend so much on printer ink, and the second is that it allows me to see the values. Now, values are the dark and light in a picture. So I can see here that there's quite a bit of darkness in this one. There's darkness down through here, darkness underneath here, and some in here, and a lot of light here, but a little less so here. So it tells me the direction of the light. I want to start with just a pencil sketch because sometimes I go straight into ink, but if I really need to get things straight, I'll start with a pencil sketch. Now I'm going to use ink on it. The thing you want to ink first is the thing that's going to be closest to you. So you can see here that there's some ivy coming over the edge of this. I'm just going to put some little leaves in here, and also very scribbly, because one of my goals is to create art that's looser, and by that I mean it's not so perfect, it's not so uptight. So in every sketch that I do, that's kind of the first step for me. It's like, okay, remember, we want this to be looser. So I'm just looking at these and over here and just kind of, basically I'm sketching them in. I'm not trying to achieve any kind of perfection, because what happens is your eye connects with your brain and it fills in a lot of those details. Got some flowers over here and some more in here. No idea what they are, but that's okay. They look like primulas or something. There's quite a bit of ivy in here, and then some ferns or something. I'm keeping the drawing very sketchy on purpose because I'll have lots of chances to fill in a lot more if I want to. And then a lot of the foliage, you can't even really make it out, so you can just kind of do squiggly lines and let that do the talking, basically. Okay, so now I can put in my pot. And one thing I decided to do on this one, and probably subsequent ones as well, is not use heavy dark lines. Just kind of hint at them. I add just a little bit of wiggle because I like the look of it. Now you can certainly be more precise than that, but it's really not necessary. There, that's my pot. Now I'm going to draw my topiary stems, and these, I'm not going to put a ball here, obviously. It's the same kind of foliage, so we can just kind of squiggle it in here. I want to make sure that my little trees are kind of even, but I don't want to put too much detail in. Now I may put my pencil here, and I'm actually changing it. The way I'm changing it is, in the picture here, it kind of leans over, and when I drew it, it leaned a little bit as well, and I don't like that. I want to keep it kind of straight. And this ball of foliage is going to be a little bit bigger. It was fun looking at these, looking for pictures of these to use, because I thought, I've never really had a topiary. I think I might actually make one happen this year. I'm not really sure how to do that, but anything can be learned. All right, this one is a lot thicker. And also it's going to be my bigger one. Now, quite often with topiary, if you're probably familiar with them, is they start big and get smaller, but this one actually starts kind of loose, and like this one here is a lot less dense a ball. So I I really don't know what they're made out of. I know you can get nice little topiaries with made of myrtle, but they tend to be quite tiny, so I don't know what the big ones are, but I'm actually would be fine with something that's not even real. There, I think that might be all I need to do, because the color is going to come along here and fill in a lot of spots. But when you look at it just like this, it's actually really attractive. And how long did that take me? I don't know, 5 minutes? Okay. Now I want to take my pencil lines out of here before I paint, because I don't really want them in there. But I have to be careful, because sometimes with these kind of pens, they don't dry instantly. And you think it's dry, and then you erase and rub it, and it's like it smears, and that's very unhappy. So I'm just kind of gently doing this. And this, by the way, is a 2H pencil. H means hard. It's not the hardest. You can get quite hard lead, but it's softer than an HB. The B's are bold. That's how I remember them anyway. They're a lot softer. So HB is halfway between hard and bold. I went with a 2H because it's light. Now once my pencil lines are gone, I can see better where I might want to put a little more ink in. And that's all I need to do for that. Now, just so you know, this little drawing will be on sale in my store as a print. I'm going to use this brush, which is a number 6. It says it's a number 6, but different brands have different sizes. Here's this one that's almost exactly the same, just a little bit shorter in the bristles, and it's a number 8. I think I'll use this smaller one. I'm going to use my regular watercolors, and also I might use some of these Kuretake ones, and they are a little bit more opaque than the regular watercolor, but I have more greens in there, and since most of this is green, I think that's a good thing. First thing I'm going to put in is the flower colors. So for those, I want them to be quite bright. Let me just put some water in here to kind of liven them up. So all I'm doing is just little dabs of color here and there. You'll notice I'm not trying to stay in the lines. Mostly I'm just trying to indicate that there are flowers there. I don't want to go straight into the green around here, because if it touches that red, it's going to go and not be nice. So I'm going to go with the green here. Just mix some up. The wonderful thing about watercolors is that they're easy to mix. And it's easy to change the value. Now when I go back over here and look at the values, I go, okay, there's quite a bit of dark in there. Do I want to start with that or start with the light? Well, personally, I want to start with the light. So this will be my dark color, and I'll put my light color over here. And just take a little moisture out of my brush so it doesn't puddle all over. Just put in some little leafy dabs like this. I love this kind of loose illustrative style, and I've done quite a lot of it, but sometimes I sort of get stuck and try too hard to be perfect, and it never makes me really happy. I mean, I've done some work that's like not quite photorealism, but almost, and I like it. Let me take back that it doesn't make me happy. It does make me happy in the finished results. It doesn't always make me happy during the creation, because it's pretty time consuming and kind of stressful. My little red ones are still kind of damp. I'm going to pick up some of this, and that's not the color I want. It's too blue. So let's try this one. I can't remember why I cut this one like this, but I might as well use it as my trial and error paper. This particular color is called Sap Green Deep. That is much closer to the color I want. So I'm going to just put some of that in here And it's just with the tip of the brush, little dabs. I want it to look like leaves. I don't mind if there's a little bit of white showing through, but I want it a little bit darker along the bottom. The other thing I have going here is a piece of paper towel that I just reach over and dab my brush on if it has too much water or paint in it. So just a quick dab like that does the job. And this particular paint as well, as I mean most of them do this anyway, but if you put less water in it you get more intense color. So we'll just make this a little bit leafy. Again, more so at the bottom. Just gonna run that around a little bit. I think that's good. Now I could just paint the whole thing in, but I'm not going to do that. I might go back and do that, but at the moment don't think so. Now this one you can see where it's got sort of darker areas. I don't need to do it exactly like that, but I can. So if it's got darker areas, it means it also has lighter areas. So I'm going to make this darker along the bottom by quite a bit. A little bit more solidly dark, maybe the same here. And then go in with my lighter paint. I like this sort of spring green. It's called yellow green. Make that a little bit brighter. There. Now my flowers, those are dry. That one isn't quite dry. But I think what I can do is just kind of be careful around them. And I'm not really even trying to stay in the lines here. This brush has a really nice sharp point. So I'm going to do the same here, just sort of dab some color around. Before I go any farther, I'm going to color my pot. Now, what color do I want? I like that one, because quite often they are that kind of color. Now remember when I said it was a little bit lighter on this side and a little bit darker on this side? And then it's got those streaks down there as well. So what I have here is a lot of paint in the brush, and it's fairly intense. So what I can do is drag it across the pot. And then pick up some more here. I don't want this edge to go weird on me, and by that I mean it'll backwash if it's not enough water in it. And there's the lip around here. So for me, the measure of whether a piece of art is successful is if it captured the vision I had in my head. Now this has some streaky stuff going down the front, so I'm going to put a little bit of that on there just for character. It also adds more to the shadows on this side. I think that's where water has run down the front. So now I can look at my little topiary tops there and see if there's any other things I want to add. And really it's just a little bit around the edge so that it's not all just ink showing. Which I think is pretty cute. And then I can go in here again with some more color, and I want again to use some of this color, which is dark, and this is pretty thick with foliage, so there's no reason why I can't fill it all in. It doesn't have to be, and this sort of sketchy look is just as attractive as if I filled it all in and tried to make it look what we don't want perfect, because I want to make it look like art, not like a photograph. I think I like that. I have one more thing to do, and that is this stem. There. And that's all that needs to happen. It's all finished, and you'll be able to find it in my shop at my website. The prints will all be signed individually. Thank you for watching. Please take some time and watch this video next, and I'll see you next time.